This video was made possible by HDpiano. Learn the best songs on piano at hdpiano.com. This is Myxomatosis by Radiohead, a song that's in 4/4 time, but certainly doesn't sound like it. The Myxomatosis riff fits into 8 bars of 4/4. We can see here that it does fit in 4/4 time, but the rhythm here is doing about as much as it can to not feel like 4/4 time. There's a few layers to what's going on here, but the main layer, I would say, is that really this song wants to be in 3/4 time. If we look at just the first 12 beats of the 16-beat phrase we have here in Myxomatosis, the first 12 beats fall very naturally into bars of 3/4 like this. It's just this last bar here that bucks the trend. It's like another bar of 3/4, but then with an extra beat added in, taking it up to a bar of 4/4. So this is ultimately how I think we feel this rhythm, in 3/4 with a bar of 4/4 tagged on the end. If I removed this last quarter note from this bar of 4/4 here, then it would become a bar of 3/4, so we would have 5 bars of 3/4 time, and it would sound like this. But as I said before, there's sort of more than one layer going on here in the rhythmic complexity. The other layer is that we're effectively getting a polyrhythm here. It's hard to see when the song is transcribed in 4/4 time, but if we remove all of the bar lines, we see that the first phrase at least is 10 dotted quarter notes in a row, followed by one regular quarter note. Taken in isolation, this is effectively another constant pulse, like another tempo happening on top of the main tempo. This means that during this stretch of the rhythm, we've got 2 main pulses happening at the same time, 2 tempos for lack of a better word, which is what we describe as a polyrhythm. What we have here is a 3/2 polyrhythm. The main riff, the blue notes here, is giving us 2 notes in the same space that the hi-hat on the drum kit, the red notes here, gives us 3. 3/2, or what we can think of as nice cup of tea, because that is the rhythmic sound of this polyrhythm. Nice cup of tea, nice cup of tea, nice cup of tea, nice cup of tea, nice cup of tea. Now, a 3/2 polyrhythm is already a relatively complex idea, but here the 3/2 polyrhythm has to be interrupted, because as I mentioned before, we're effectively here getting 4 bars of 3/4 and then 1 bar of 4/4. So the 3/2 polyrhythm can continue as far as here, but then it gets interrupted when we get the extra beat added into the phrase. The Myxomatosis riff is ultimately 2 different versions of a very similar rhythm. The first one is this one we've been looking at just now, where we have constant dotted quarter notes until we get 1 regular quarter note. That's followed by a variation on the rhythm, where we still get 11 notes in total, but they're spaced a bit differently, they're spaced a bit unevenly. We get this longer half note here, and then to compensate for that, we get this shorter quarter note here. Earlier we were talking about the 3/2 nice cup of tea polyrhythm that Radiohead effectively used here in Myxomatosis in a slightly adapted way. But a far purer example of the 3/2 polyrhythm can be found in a different Radiohead song, Daydreaming. In Daydreaming, the right hand is playing 3 notes in the same time that the left hand is playing 2 notes, so it's a very pure archetypal example of a polyrhythm. And a great way to learn how to play this polyrhythm is by learning Daydreaming using today's sponsor HDpiano. HDpiano is a really intuitive way to learn piano. It doesn't involve any sheet music, it's just all laid out in really easy to follow tutorials on screen. Personally, I think Daydreaming is a fantastic song to learn, not just because it's a beautiful piece of music, but because it's a great way to practice that 3/2 polyrhythm in a real world application. Follow the links down below to try out HDpiano. So Myxomatosis is effectively a song in 4/4, but with a riff that implies that we're in 3/4 with a bar of 4/4 tagged on the end, and a polyrhythm on top of that. But I think there's one more layer to what makes this song so rhythmically complex, and that's the drum part. What's interesting about this drum part is that it starts off by matching the same accents as the riff does, but then it diverges from that. So we can see here at the beginning, the notes that are accented in the drum part match the notes that are accented in the bass riff, so we're getting an accent every 3 beats. But from this point onwards, the drum part now doesn't match the accents of the bass riff. It's now effectively working against the bass riff. So we can see there is so much complexity here for a song that's simply in 4/4 time. But what's so great about this song, what really gives the perfect yin and yang to it, is the chorus. This song ultimately features 2 main sections, the verse and the chorus. The verse is this really intense section with a loud dynamic and this heavy, complex rhythm. But then the chorus is the complete opposite. It's completely stripped back instrumentally. We can rest for a second in the eye of the storm before once again entering the torrent of rhythm that is the verse.
She ate me up for breakfast. She screwed me in a vice. But now I don't know why I feel so tongue-tied.
Thank you so much to Joe Edelmann for allowing me to use his fantastic cover of Myxomatosis. I've had issues in the past using Radiohead songs on my videos and getting copyright strikes, that sort of thing, so using a cover like this is more or less the only way I could make this video. Joe's channel has loads of fantastic Radiohead covers, including a version of Sail to the Moon that I used in my video analysing Sail to the Moon. Also, if you'd like to watch another analysis of a Radiohead song that's in 4/4 but certainly doesn't sound like it, then check out my analysis of Pyramid Song.